A little girl was beaten defending a veteran's K9. 24 hours later, 200 K9s showed up for her. 9-year-old Lily Carter had never been one to turn away when someone, or something, needed help. With bright green eyes full of curiosity and a heart that often seemed too big for her tiny frame, she had grown up in a small town just outside Raleigh, North Carolina, where everyone knew each other, and stories traveled fast. But no one could have predicted that one day, Lily would become the center of a story that would move the entire country. It all began on a crisp Saturday morning in early spring. Lily was walking home from the library, her favorite place in the world, with a backpack full of books and a pocket full of peppermints she liked to give to the local dogs. As she passed by the park, she noticed an older man, clearly a veteran from the patches on his jacket, sitting on a bench with his K9 service dog, a majestic black German shepherd named Max. Max had a limp, his left back leg wrapped in a brace, and the man, who introduced himself as Sergeant Willis, explained that Max had served 2 tours in Afghanistan. He'd saved lives, sniffed out explosives, and lost part of his mobility to a roadside bomb. Max wasn't just a dog, he was a decorated hero. Lily sat with them, listening to stories from the sergeant about the battlefield, about fear, courage, and the unbreakable bond between a soldier and his dog. She was enthralled, her eyes wide as saucers. Before leaving, she reached into her pocket and offered Max a peppermint. To everyone's surprise, the tough old dog took it gently, his tail thumping against the bench. But kindness doesn't always breed kindness. The next day, as Lily walked the same route, she saw Sergeant Willis arguing with a group of teenagers. They were mocking him, teasing Max, calling the dog a broken mutt. One of them tried to kick dirt in Max's face. That's when Lily ran toward them, yelling, "Leave him alone. He's a hero." Without thinking, she stepped in front of Max, her arms spread wide. "You don't hurt someone who's protected this country." One of the boys shoved her hard. She fell, hitting her head on the sidewalk. A bruise formed instantly, and her tiny hands scraped against the concrete. Max barked furiously, positioning himself between her and the attackers until passers-by intervened and the teens scattered. Lily was taken to the hospital, bruised but conscious, her eyes still burning with the same fierce courage that had made her stand up in the first place. News of what had happened spread like wildfire, first through local Facebook groups, then national news. Little girl beaten while defending veterans K9. It was a headline that caught attention, stirred outrage, and sparked something much deeper. And then, something extraordinary happened. Exactly 24 hours after the incident, as Lily lay in her hospital bed surrounded by stuffed animals and get well cards, a low rumble echoed outside the hospital. It wasn't thunder. It was the sound of paws. One by one, police vehicles, military trucks, and pickup vans pulled up outside the hospital lawn. Out of them stepped officers, soldiers, and civilians, each accompanied by a dog. Not just any dogs. K9s, retired and active duty, police dogs, military service dogs, search and rescue dogs. More than 200 of them. Their handlers stood tall, solemn, many of them with tears in their eyes. They'd come from all over, Georgia, Texas, even California. One officer from Arizona had driven through the night. They had only one reason, Lily. Holding signs that read, "K9s stand with Lily," and, "Thank you for protecting one of our own," the crowd filled the parking lot. News crews rushed to capture the moment, but none of them were prepared for what happened next. Sergeant Willis, standing tall beside Max, slowly led the procession of dogs into the hospital. One by one, the dogs padded silently through the halls, their eyes alert, their posture proud. Nurses and doctors lined the corridors, some crying openly. When Max reached Lily's room, he gently nosed the door open. Lily, her head bandaged and cheeks pale, sat up, blinking in disbelief. "Max," she whispered. He trotted to her side and laid his head in her lap. Then, behind him, came the others. Dozens of dogs, peeking in, tails wagging, alert and aware. One lay at her feet. Another sat beside her mother. A giant golden retriever placed a soft paw on the bed. Lily's eyes filled with tears. Are they here for me? Sergeant Willis knelt beside her. They heard what you did. They know what courage looks like. And they came to say thank you. Lily couldn't speak. She just hugged Max tight and sobbed into his fur. The dogs, as if sensing the weight of the moment, remained calm and still. It wasn't just a visit. It was a salute. The following days were a whirlwind. Donations poured in to help pay for Max's future treatments. The city declared April 17th as Lily and K9 Heroes Day. A scholarship fund was started in her name. And her story reached millions online, with veterans, dog lovers, and parents calling her a hero, an angel, and a reminder of what bravery truly looks like. But Lily didn't care much about the media or the attention. What mattered to her was Max, and the bond they had formed. The day she left the hospital, Max was there, tail wagging like crazy, flanked by his fellow K9s. Sergeant Willis looked at Lily's parents, then handed them a folded paper. She changed our lives, he said quietly. If you're okay with it. Max would like to stay with her. He's ready for retirement. And I think he's found his purpose again. Lily's parents, overwhelmed, nodded through tears. That night, Max lay at the foot of Lily's bed, his eyes finally at peace. He was no longer just a retired soldier. He was a protector once more. From that day on, wherever Lily went, Max followed. To school, to the library, to the park. People still whispered and pointed, but not because she was the girl who got hurt. Now, she was known as the girl who stood up when it mattered most. Who defended the voiceless. Who reminded a nation of what it means to be brave. And every April 17th, in cities and towns across America, K9 units gather in parks and schools, hospitals and homes, to honor her. Not with medals or parades, but with moments of quiet, loyal presence. With wagging tails and watchful eyes. With kindness. Because sometimes, it only takes one small voice, one courageous act, to remind the world that compassion is the greatest form of strength. And sometimes, the most powerful soldiers don't wear uniforms. Sometimes, they wear pigtails.